Palpatine can definitely struggle against Sabine. Nick does get to start with the initiative. And Nick does have that turn one play, which is quite important in this matchup against Sabine. So Viper Probe Droid down, followed by 2 Spec Force soldiers for Frank. And then he will use Sabine to ping each base for 1. So very interesting start to this one. Double Spec Force soldier right out of the gate for Frank. Nick will retain the initiative for turn 2. Both players ready to go. Nick, it does appear he has some more plays. He's going to trade with one of the Spec Force soldiers. Viper Probe Droid and Spec Force will trade. And then Spec Force soldier, the 1 remaining, will go in 2 to base. And in response, Nick will throw down Colonel Yularen. Yularen going to immediately heal 1 damage from the base. That card could be crucial in this matchup. And yes, to answer chat, we are in round 5. And we see Frank put down a rogue operative on his turn 2. Nick still able to retain the initiative. Yularen does take out the Spec Force soldier and stay on the board. So important play there for Nick. And now rogue operative going to base for 4 damage. As the rogue operative does have raid 2, so he gets an extra couple power on attack. And then Nick will pay 4 for a Sentinel here. And he's got 2 blue cards in hand. That's going to pump up Chilton +2/+2. Lieutenant Chilton, a very important piece here. That Sentinel could be a big deal in this match. Sabine now deployed. So 1 damage to base. And Chilton has been defeated, so big play there for Frank being able to take out the Sentinel. So now as we load back up, I do believe the heroic sacrifice, yeah, there it is. The heroic sacrifice was played onto Sabine to initiate that trade, to be able to take out the Sentinel, and now Sabine off the board.
Something that's interesting is him using his like spec soldiers so early on. He might honestly just not play against blue Palpatine very much, but he's about to run into so much Sentinel, and him just kind of burning through two of the outs to Sentinels like so early was a little bit surprising. So I'm interested to see if that comes back around to bite him. But I mean, he's still putting on like what 18 points of damage so far. So it's not the worst thing in the world. But when he starts dropping like the Imperial Walker or like again the other like Cell Block Guard or something like that, potentially Emperor's Guard, it might start to like bite him in the butt a little bit. Ooh, we do see the legendary Vigilance coming down though.
Yeah, Vigilance coming down. We'll take out the red 3 and heal 5 from base. Nick is tapped out here. Does not have any open resources left. So the door is open for Frank. He's got
3 Sabine, active, 2 swings. Green. Sabine can still come out.
An A-wing, yep, absolutely.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he's still 1 off Palpatine too.
I believe they might be trying to get a ruling on something. It almost appears as though they were discussing something, and Frank almost signaled for a timeout.
It's because someone in chat says he activated Heroic Sacrifice, which allows you to attack, but at the end, it does defeat the unit.
Now, he did defeat that unit, correct? Because he used the Heroic Sacrifice onto leader Sabine. And they did take it off the board.
I'm sure they're going to figure out. PPG is a really good staff of judges across all card games, so they should be able to work it out pretty easily.
Yeah, Sabine was defeated at the end of that turn. So I'm not sure the delay here at this point.
I can respect Frank's drip though. I see the little Star Wars emblem on his jacket. I respect it.
Yeah, it looks great, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we are back into the action. Frank immediately playing a Fleet Lieutenant. So Sabine goes in for 5 total damage to base. Oh, absolutely. And the wing leader now, because remember, Nick is tapped out.
Yep.
So the wing leader,
and now Frank can just do anything he needs to.
Absolutely. Another 5 damage onto base from the A-wing.
This is horrifying. Damage on now. That is an intimidating board that Frank has set up. Now, blue have access to something like Super Laser Blast, but sadly, he is 1 resource too short of that. So Frank will at least get a turn to be able to go a little bit crazy here.
Absolutely. Immediate takedown onto A-wing. Yeah, that's important. That A-wing was quite 100%.
Big. Yeah, the raid was going to kill him.
Absolutely. Yeah, it would have been another 5 damage. And just going to go 2 to base with wing leader first.
Do you Lauren to heal since he counts himself? Ooh, trading, interesting.
Immediately Frank removes the Yularen. Obviously, that heal is crucial at this stage.
I will say, as good as that is, though, if I'm Nick, I'm feeling a little bit okay with that, just because that's that much less damage that's being done to my base right now. So I think Yularen definitely felt pretty good, and that I think if I'm Nick, I'm happy with that trade. Frank, I definitely think didn't need to be as afraid of it as he was.
Right. Yeah, it is certainly an argument there. You do have the possibility next turn Nick would be at 8 resources, so Super Laser Blast is in play. I don't think it's in his hand though. I can't tell.
I mean, I think there's another fleet lieutenant. Oh, the Falcon. Oh, that's gonna be
Very nice.
crazy right now because he's a 24 right now. Yeah, I think Nick needs to super laser blast instantly, but I think the Falcon still kind of kills him.
Yeah, that Falcon could be really, really good.
This is rough. Nick I don't even know what would help you at this point because again, super laser blast. Then the Falcon just comes out anyway. Like if you Sentinel on one thing, Falcon's still on the other side. I think this is kind of not looking so good for the Palpatine player. Sabine's doing Sabine things.
Absolutely, Sabine doing some great things here in this matchup. We know that Sabine generally has a decent matchup into Palpatine.
Absolutely, absolutely. Stealing the Fleet Lieutenant is the first action off of Palpatine's leader deployment. But I mean, he's still pretty. I guess
So
he doesn't have a Fleet
24
Lieutenant in
damage
hand
on
because I would have
base.
just threw that right there. Yeah.
24, another 3. It's going to be 27 damage.
Yeah,
now.
and like obviously, as we know,
Base.
and he doesn't clearly, but that Falcon in hand, unless he drops another Sentinel space unit, I think that's gonna be it for game 1.
I think the only play here, he does have a reinforcement walker in hand that could heal 3.
Mm-hmm.
So that would take him down to 24 damage on. And
Yeah, but then he has
between
the Falcon and the Wing Leader.
Falcon Wing Leader would be 5, and then I don't think he has not used Sabine ability yet this turn. No, he hasn't. So that would still be enough.
No, he hasn't. Yeah, that's still rough. That is a good point. Palpatine would not have even had a target to steal if the Fleet Lieutenant didn't attack into the Yularen last turn. So I think Frank was definitely just playing it a little more cautious. But I don't think he needed to be. I think he still would have been fine.
Right. Yeah, that's an excellent point. And here comes the Falcon.
Falcon comes in. Ooh, do we see a Fleet Lieutenant there?
Is he
interesting? I thought the math was different. I thought he had game there.
I think the reinforcement walker came down.
Yeah. That's right. Falcon is not a rebel. It's a underworld. Underworld. That's correct. Which gets a lot of support next set. Gonna have a lot of fun with Underworld stuff. Hope everybody picked up their Millennium Falcons.
Absolutely. So now back over to Frank. Playing Ozatuk Gunship.
I think if I'm... Yeah, Nick definitely needs the claim initiative fast. Because obviously the Reinforcement Walker is going to have to do some stuff, but you also need to make sure that you can deal with the space arena before he goes a little too aggressive.
Yeah, good call there, Jay Freak. That was what we missed, Max. The attack from Palpatine.
Yeah,
was able to take out the Wing Leader.
Yep, that extra 1 damage.
Plus
the draw is really nice there too.
Right.
Everybody currently is undefeated. So it's an undefeated Sabine versus undefeated Palpatine. Core 6 to base. Trashing a takedown? Yeah, that's... Ooh, I can definitely see why he would have wanted that. Yeah, but at this point, he can't take any cards. He has to heal everything.
Absolutely. Heal is so important right now. So back down to 25 damage on Nick's base. Falcon goes in for 3. That's 28.
And it looks like we have 10 damage on Frank.
Yep, 10 damage on
Oh,
Frank's
this looks like
base.
he has Sentinels in hand, but not. Yeah. Yeah, he has Sentinels in hand, but it doesn't look like space units. Ooh, Entrenched. Good card. Good use of that card. And now at this point, Nick should honestly just not put anything in space, but he still needs to remove that Falcon.
Definitely agree with you there. Does Frank have anything left in his hand to deal damage? He needs one more damage on now after the Sabine action ability.
Yeah.
Does he have any more damage in his hand? What does he have left over there? I see a K2SO.
Yeah, that's what I saw too. He wants to play it so bad too. That's another fun. Whoop, whoop. See something cunning.
And now Frank trying to...
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's good. Frank claiming initiative here could be really good.
And there's Falcon. Yeah, there is the Falcon, and that will allow Frank to take the first game of the match.
I'm surprised that he hesitated there. I would have just he might have just been a better player than me because I would have just slammed that bad boy down.
Absolutely. Well, actually, was the stall there or the delay? Was it maybe Nick thinking about his play? Did he take a little time to? Was he deciding between attacking with Palp or claiming initiative, or had he claimed right away?
I think he probably claimed right away. Just because the Palpatine attacking really doesn't give you any value, any more value than attacking with Reinforcement Walker, because you need to guarantee if he doesn't have something that comes in unsuspended, you have to guarantee that heal.
Yeah, definitely. It was just curious, right? It was just curious that, Frank could have just immediately, play that second Falcon, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He did have the Falcon in hand.
Yep.
Maybe something.
I'm definitely interested to see Nick's side deck. I'm so glad that we got to see the utilization of Entrenched, because a lot of people I know are kind of skeptical on it because obviously you beef something up, and it can still deal damage to whatever's in that area arena. But he used it perfectly. The most I've seen it used is when someone brings down Avenger, and you just put it on Avenger. Now Avenger can't attack, you can't trigger its effect to kill things. But he played it perfectly there as well, because now he just stopped another thing from being able to deal him damage. Sadly, it did just kind of delay the inevitable, but he still played very, very well against arguably the most aggressive deck in the format.
There you go. So, chat, Nick was at 29. Frank with initiative wins with ping, so Nick had to decide. So either way,
I'm hoping we get to see some Vader action.
Yes, Vader would be good. Haven't seen any Vader yet. Wonder if there's still any Vader left undefeated, or is...
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant like Vader in like Palpatine. I just want to see the 7-drop come down. The biggest issue I think
you're talking about
Palpatine, especially blue Palpatine, it can definitely combat Sabine on the ground arena. And as we saw, he does run the Sentinel space units as well to try and combat space, but you just have to like draw into them early while at the same time ramping, and it's just very hard to do that because Sabine is not going to allow you the time that's needed for you to set up and do all of that.
Right.
So it's definitely a rough one.
So now seeing Sabine do put in some real work in that game, what do you do if you're Nick? What do you need to sideboard in now to try to help in this particular matchup?
I saw someone in chat say Redemption. Redemption's an interesting one, just to be able to heal. I think if you don't run every Sentinel that you have access to, you kind of have to. I would even consider like the Gladiator starship that gives something Sentinel just for the phase could be really good. It's not even, I don't think, necessarily sideboards. You just have to really hope that you draw well, because you want to see your Sentinels, you want to see your ramp cards, and it's unfortunate because Sabine, and we've seen the Sabine player, they run the Spec Soldier. I'm assuming they run the Rebel Pathfinder. So that's like potentially 6 cards that can already just out Sentinel. So obviously you still want to see the Sentinel, but you almost want to see your ramp cards as a higher priority so that your board is set up to now try and deal with theirs, because all your ambush guys are going to be able to deal with the units that they're bringing out. The faster you get to Reinforcement Walker is going to help you a lot. The faster you get to Devastator is going to help you a lot. The faster you get to Avenger is going to help you a lot. And then, of course, one of the better things in Blue Palpatine over Double Command Palpatine is the removal events. So drawing into things like Takedown, right? That's probably your most important event that you need in this matchup so that you can take down Sabine. Honestly, just power the dark side, being able to deal with multiple annoying things, whether it be like if there's like a red 3 on board and a Fighters for Freedom, being able to get rid of either of those 2 for only 3 could be really good. I definitely think it's yeah. I definitely think it's more. You just need to hopefully draw very, very well more than necessarily the sideboard, because I think the base Palpatine lists are already built to stall because he's one of the slower decks in the format anyway, and he just wants to slow down everybody. So it's very rough because this is just like at the extreme end of the spectrum, that it's the fastest deck versus the slowest. And you just have to be able to draw fast, draw well, and draw better than your opponent.
Okay. Yeah, no, great insight. Appreciate that, Max. We did have chat chip in a little bit there. Vigilance, if some are in the board. Repair, System Patrol Craft, I think.
I'm assuming he already. I assumed he maxed out on him just because we saw the one already. It does cost a little bit more because it's not a double, obviously, vigilance deck, but because you ramp so much, it's definitely worth it paying that extra aspect tax. One, because the effects are insane, but because you're ramping fast, it almost feels like there's not a tax there.
Okay. Yeah, fair point. I think Vigilance can certainly play a major role here, and System Patrol Craft, you got to think that he's got options to hopefully multiple copies of the Patrol Craft, which seems very important against the A-Wing and Red 3.
100%. 100%. If Red 3 comes out, that's, especially in this matchup, because they're already going so fast, Red 3 and Fighters for Freedom are the 2 things that you really, really have to deal with. Something I'm interested to see, because K2SO is going to be an annoying card to deal with as well. If Nick can somehow control the ground arena and force Nick into space, that could be helpful. And if there's like a K2S2 that comes down, it can drop the Entrenched on that, and then that can just turn off that issue of K2SO.
Okay.
Stick Piano, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that.
Looks like we are
reinforcement
ready to go for game 2. Yeah, Nick, right away with the mulligan. Looks like
something that could put a lot of work in this too is going to be the Death Trooper. I saw Nick Resource one last game. That could definitely be helpful just to get a little bit of chip damage in there, to start pinging his guys at least, and then doing things like Overwhelming Barrage to just address everything. Because that's the really annoying thing about Overwhelming or Sabine, is that a lot of their things just dodge things like, obviously it's not red, but things like Bombing Run, things like Overwhelming Barrage. So having things that like Palpatine that can deal 1 damage to something, or Death Trooper that can do 2 damage to something, just allowing some of his guys to start getting chip damage on them so that when you hit that Overwhelming Barrage play, it feels a lot better. And turn 1, Yularen feels amazing.
Yeah, turn 1, Yularen, pretty nice there. Frank follows up with a Alliance X-Wing, and then Sabine gonna ping each base for 1.
Ooh, Nick opting to resource the Vader. Okay.
And a quick power of the dark side.
Yeah,
that was interesting. No question about that one. It was a very quick move, and here comes the Red 3.
Yeah, that's something. I mean, that's fair though, because it probably, even if you waited for that Power of the Dark Side, obviously Frank's gonna kill that other vanilla unit over Red 3, so it didn't really matter when he played it.
Right.
I do see a Sentinel in his hand. I think that's an Overwhelming Barrage as well. Yeah, so if I'm Nick, and I believe he does not have initiative.
And here comes the Fleet Lieutenant. It's going to be 5 to base with
Gross. That
Red
is
3.
so
Great
nasty.
play from Frank. Absolutely.
I think if I'm Nick here, I'm playing the Sentinel guy. Obviously, depending on how many blue cards he has in hand, which he does. Show us what you have, my friend. I think. Does he not have to reveal for that effect?
I thought he did. There it is.
Oh, yep.
There it is.
Yeah,
There's the reveal.
Okay, gotcha.
There is the Patrol Craft. Another Power of the Dark Side. So we
Yeah,
do
that's a good
see an
hand.
answer
That's a
to
really
Red
good
3.
hand.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the Sentinel will go a long ways in locking down the ground for Nick.
100%. And what's really nice is Frank is going to focus a lot of attention on that Sentinel to clear it, and it's going to allow Nick a little bit more time to slam down the Sentinel in space when it comes to the following turn, so that Red 3 now has to self-inflict damage to attack through that Sentinel.
Right.
And best case scenario from Frank might just not even attack with Red 3 anymore, just so he can have the standing effect to give raid to all of his guys a little bit longer. Nick does claim initiative. Out comes Sabine. Ooh, getting rid of this
Sabine, is that a Spec
Sentinel
Force soldier?
Yep,
Yeah.
that is a Spec Force soldier. Yeah, that is definitely going to be one of the more... Ooh, Lando Calrissian. Okay. Interesting. But yeah, that is a perfect Spec Force soldier. That card's going to be very important in this matchup.
I would go as far to say that the Blonde Sabine is a spicy deck list. We're seeing some very interesting
100%.
choices here in Frank's deck. I like it.
Oh, we do see Frank resource some Millennium Falcon. That's one less that we will see. If I'm Frank here... Ooh, Overwhelming Barrage. Interesting.
Here comes the Overwhelming Barrage. That's huge.
Yeah, 100%. Because now, not only will it get rid of Red 3, not only will it beef up his attacker on board, but it beefed up a Sentinel unit. So now it's going to be that much more difficult for Frank to try and clear it.
Yeah, this is a rough spot now for Frank. The Barrage is going to buff up the Sentinel to a 6/6 for this phase.
Yeah. Good play.
That is a
God, that is such a good card.
Huge tempo swinging play for Nick.
And that's great because now Nick doesn't even have to waste his Space Sentinel unit. He can save it for later.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I just really hope we get to see Avenger come out. If Nick can get there fast enough, Avenger is going to do a lot of work in this matchup.
So Wing Leader for Frank, that's going to make sure that Nick can't just attack right into Sabine and take her off the board.
And it also takes her out of takedown range. I guess he isn't too worried about takedown since he used all of his resources on OB. If I'm
Tough
Nick,
spot
I'm definitely attacking
for Frank.
here.
And Frank will just claim the initiative.
Interesting. Yeah, Nick swing. Yeah, might as well. Oh, he might be debating whether or not to attack into Sabine and then activate Palpatine to defeat Yularen and give it another damage. But yeah, he does end up just going to face.
Yeah, 6 to base. Frank's got 10 damage on now. 11 damage on base for Nick. Frank does have the initiative, but that Sentinel is still a problem.
100%.
We know Frank has
he definitely needs... Obviously, Frank has a lot of things that out Sentinel, but certain ones only, like obviously the one soldier, you can only target one. So if Nick is able to slam down another Sentinel here in ground, at least, he should be moving into a pretty comfortable spot. All right, then Frank does have initiative. Only 3 cards in hand. I think Nick has either 4 or 5. Both players on 6 resources. We know Nick runs the ramp stuff. I know we at least have seen super laser tech, but I think we saw it late and we saw it when he basically resourced. Another overwhelming barrage. Interesting. Does that clear everything? No, it does not. Interesting. Okay, so now it definitely killed. There's no point in him attacking with Sabine into the. I mean, you know what? I think I'd still attack with Sabine. Yeah, just to at least give the damage. Yep, to the Sentinel unit. And then now, yeah, Nick's in a great spot. Nick, swing with that Sentinel body, my dude. Oh, he has another the same Sentinel. I'm surprised. I would definitely think he should have attacked with the Sentinel unit before he attacked with the Yularen, since the Sentinel unit's so beefy, and it's definitely like unlikely that he has an out to it right now, but I think he still should have attacked with it first. I'm not sure. I'm assuming he runs resupply, but we haven't seen any yet. Like I said, we've only seen the one super laser tech that he resourced because he drew into it so late.
So yeah, he does swing in with the lieutenant. Here comes
Lando.
Lando. Interesting choice now for Frank. What do you get back?
Yeah, Saboteur is definitely going to be a problem. And we already know that he's down 2 overwhelming barrages, so he definitely needs to deal with that. Lando is kind of interesting in a Sabine list, because since you're playing so low to the ground, it's not really the worst thing in the world to take away 2 resources. Especially since we saw that Frank had, no cards left in hand?
Yeah, that's right. No cards left for Frank after playing the Lando.
So now he'll have 2 off the resources and 2 more at the start of the next turn. So that feels pretty good. Especially if you need. Plus, it's Saboteur. Yeah, that was a very good play. Oh, we do see a fighter for freedom in Frank's resources. I didn't happen to see what he grabbed back. I was looking away. Did he grab back the Falcon? He did grab back the Falcon. Interesting. Those are for a cause that I believe in hand as well. Okay, this is going to be very interesting. We see the repair in Nick's hand. I think that's an Emperor's Royal Guard in there as well. I believe there's an Avenger. Ooh, okay. Resourcing Emperor's Royal Guard. I think I low-key would have played that here. Heal 1, and then he's live because of Yularen, even though Lando has Saboteur, not everybody else does. So I think that would have been fine.
Hey, chat, can you confirm, is the mic, and a couple people ask about my audio, is it sounding better now? Made a little adjustment.
It's definitely interesting because it seems like, I don't know, there must be some like disconnect just because of whatever the intermediary is, because you sound totally fine and clear to me.
Okay.
He did have 2 cards in hand. Yep. And then I think, yeah, Nick's in a weird spot now. Obviously, we know more than Nick does, just off of the angle of this camera. But because Frank has a Falcon, I guess it technically doesn't matter, because even though we can restand the Falcon, he can't attack with it instantly. So as soon as that Falcon comes down, I guarantee Nick drops the Space Sentinel unit.
So now it's 21 damage on Frank's base. We've got 23 damage.
Yeah, Nick's doing a lot of work here.
On Nick. Yeah, he really is.
I think at this point they're both kind of playing chicken and just waiting for one of the other people to do something. Oh, yeah, that repair is going to feel good.
You think the repair came in from the sideboard?
100%, 100%. He saw how quickly he was getting pinged, and he was like, "Nah, let's do something about that." Yep. Yeah, the card's too good not to play. 2, 3. Oh, what's that last card? I'm assuming that's 4 damage. I think that is. I just can't see off the glare of the fourth body.
Yeah, it was hard to tell.
Oh no, it's was that surprise attack? Yeah, so it's 3.
Okay, yeah, just 3 damage, and there's vigilance.
Oh, okay, mill him out, Nick. Let's go, mill him out. I can't wait till we get more vigilance mill stuff. Oh, is that a falcon? Was that last? Was a falcon the last one? Obviously, we know he still already has one in hand, but your opponent not having 2 falcons in hand feels pretty good.
It seems like at this point Nick is in a pretty good spot.
100%. And there goes another spec soldier, and we know that Nick has more sentinels in hand, so that feels really good too. If I'm Nick, I see that Inferno 4. I'm probably resourcing that. Interesting option. He chose the Imperial unit that allows you to stop your opponent from playing a card. I might have kept that to stop my opponent from playing for a cause I believe in again, because that card is really what steals games for you.
Absolutely, yeah. For a cause, so good. And Sabine gives it so much reach.
Oh, he wants the K2SO really bad here. Regional government, thank you. His last 2 got milled out. Thank you, chat. Appreciate you guys. That's a good play then, yeah, because that's definitely what that card's in there for. All right, what are we cooking with? What are we cooking with, Nick?
Inferno 4, both cards
good.
back on top. Absolutely. Fighters for Freedom follow-up for Frank.
Oh, the card is so good. The card is so good. I almost can't even, you can't even be mad at like the Sabine decks. It's just like it is so good and does what it wants to do so well that like as annoying it is to play against, they're very good cards. Exactly. So Nick did exactly what I said he would. He waited for that Falcon to come down and then slammed down the Sentinel unit. Oh dang. Sadly, no rebel or aggressive things.
Yeah, and I think this is
Still just the fact that
going to
Frank
finish.
can't use that as good. Yeah.
Finish this one off. Was that
Nick just
26
turning
damage
off
on
Fighters for
now?
Freedom is so good.
And he's going to heal an extra 3 just for good measure.
There you go, Nick. Good job.
Nothing happens here in the closing stages of game 2.
Nick is cooking. Yeah, Nick played this so well. Yeah, I think Nick's definitely in a winning spot here.
I mean, just
see that reinforcement Walker come down.
Yeah, that's going to do it.
Yep.
Game 2.
I always love that too.
Nick,
Good,
and now
good sportsmanship.
1-1 tie going into game 3.
Yes, sir. I'm glad I really like when players do that. Very good sportsmanship. He understood that he was in a not ideal situation, that very, very likely he was going to lose. So instead of wasting time, just continue to hop into the next game.
Very good absolutely. It seems as though that's going to be very important with Star Wars Unlimited tournaments, with the double loss for a draw if it goes to time, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You need to know when to scoop. It's going to be critical.
100%. 100%. There's no point in wasting time on a game that you're already going to lose, so get started on the next one. Yeah, Nick's playing phenomenally. As a Palpatine player myself, I'm fanboying. I love it. Love to see it.
Just checking in another audio check. Chat, does it sound any better now?
I want to see Palp take it down of an event. That'd be great. I want to see that. I'm interested too. Yeah, Nick played. Great. Obviously, it's definitely I think because of the matchup. But he is definitely just like almost resourcing Vader as soon as possible. But it definitely makes sense because if you hold on to it too long, you might just die before you get an opportunity to even play him. Right. So I think Vader's like definitely opening hand, one of the better resources. And then if you draw into it late game, to be able to attack into their bodies and play out a sentinel or something feels really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Nick really maneuvered his way very nicely through that game, and
Yep.
he's got himself right back into this. So that's back-to-back rounds. We've had Nick on stream. He's lost the first game in both, and he's come back to claim game 2 and force another game 3. We'll see if he's got a back-to-back win in him here again.
He definitely strikes me as the kind of player that he takes that first game. He really takes advantage of the fact that it's a best of 3 type game.
Absolutely.
And he takes the first game. I think he like obviously of course still like plays as best he can. But he does observe a lot of the deck choices and the play style of his opponent, and then is able to adjust very, very well. Not only just with sideboard, but also his play style as well. Because I think he definitely was more looking for bigger bodies in game 1, and then game 2 was clearly just like do what I can, control where I can, and then heal as where I can. And that's why I think we saw like early repairs. We saw I think double your Lauren in that game, and like you Lauren for turn 1. So he definitely does seem like a very intelligent player that knows when and where to make his adjustments.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think he's probably done very well in the last couple rounds at his sideboarding as well. I think his sideboarding has probably been right on point in helping him get back 100%. Into each of these matches.
And we are back. Decks are cut.
Ready to go. Final game. 1-1 here in round 5. These guys looking to stay undefeated.
That's kind of a heavy hand. I see Reinforcement Walker, Overwhelming Barrage, the Blue Sentinel Lieutenant. Yeah, it's kind of a big hand. I probably would have spun that back as well. All right, so Frank is. Oh, we see the Green Squadron. I'm guaranteed it's going to be Frank's turn 1. Then hopefully Nick can draw into something a little bit better. It's really funny because I think you're drinking water and you're doing it at the same time that Frank is, and like for a split second, I was like, "Wow, how can we hear Frank through this the app?"
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Ooh, Power of the Dark Side, nice. Definitely want to keep that Power of the Dark Side. Slam that bad boy down early. Yep, Green Squadron first play from Frank. Definitely a card that you need to address. Ooh, Nick not opening up, but claiming initiative, which is really, really good. And even if he had a 2-drop, he might have honestly just passed and claimed initiative anyway. I guess Sabine still would have gone off. But he's definitely clearly going to use Power of the Dark Side right here because that Green Squadron's gotta go.
Absolutely. He's going to immediate answer.
Yep, there it goes. Yeah, 100%.
Power of the Dark Side, taking out the A-Wing.
Some things you definitely do have to... Yeah, Falcon being a 3-drop is really gross. Yeah, and like it's even nastier in Han, but like yeah, it's disgusting. We still have yet to see a resupply from Nick. I think he's focused more on just healing and events that heal more than the actual ramp itself.
Yeah, we've seen a handful of Super Laser Technician, but I don't believe we've seen resupply. And there's the immediate takedown on the Falcon.
Nick having all the outs. Perfect. He is drawing very well. It almost seems like his hand is a little bricky, just with how many events are there. But I mean, if he can just continue to draw the outs for everything. Ooh, Fleet Lieutenant off the Sabine leader.
Okay, so 5
Nick
damage.
Initiative then. Yeah.
Into base, 11 damage on now for Nick.
He did draw another of the Blue Sentinel Lieutenant, which I'm assuming would come down right here. Does he have a Spec Soldier?
3 other Vigilance cards in hand, right? So
yeah. He'd be a big boy.
Give him a nice little boost there, absolutely.
Do you resource the duplicate Sentinel here? 5-5. I'm assuming I would be very surprised if he doesn't play the. That
Immediate
is just
takedown.
as good. That is just as good.
Absolutely. Back-to-back turns with takedown right out of the gate for Nick. So Fleet Lieutenant will come across for 315 damage on the base now, and then Alliance A-Wing follows up the attack of Fleet Lieutenant.
Frank is definitely getting a little wide here. Nick is doing such an absolutely phenomenal job at controlling Frank, and obviously doing one for all the threats that Frank is putting down. But still, Frank going wide, even if basically 2 of his 3 cards now are just vanillas, that red 3 is going to do, and there it goes. Yeah, Nick is just, every removal event he's got, he is taking them out.
He has had the answers so far in this game. Now, that does leave the door open on this turn, though. We've got another at least 5 damage being shown with the units. Frank still ping with Sabine. Well. He's got Spec Force Soldier, and I believe he also has For a Cause in his hand as well.
Oh, 100%. If I'm Nick, I'm just assuming they always have a For a Cause, I believe, in hand. They're just saving it for a more dramatic turn. Also, for those of us just joining us, we're currently on round 5 of round 8 for PPG's $5,000 Star Wars Unlimited tournament in Kissimmee, Florida. As we see Mr. Frank Myers, who is on yellow Sabine, I apologize, dropping a For a Cause I believe in, dropping 4 rebel units, dealing 4 damage to Nick.
I think it's only going to be 3 damage. I think there was a Greedo there.
It's only 3. There was a Greedo on that?
Yeah, there was a Greedo. I think Greedo was the first card revealed, so just 3 damage. And here comes Wolf.
Interesting.
Gonna shut off the heal.
Mm-hmm. I guarantee that's a card that I'm surprised that someone would actually tech that. That was very well. I guess if you're expecting things like Eden and Krennic, that's definitely a good card to have inside, and I'm sure that's exactly what his thinking was. But it also is gonna do amazing in this matchup because of how much heal Nick has in this game.
Absolutely, Nick has a plethora of healing effects. The Wolf could certainly make an impact if he's able to stay on the board.
Mm-hmm.
And here comes that vigilance once again.
Jeez, he must have
Wolf is not staying on the board.
Nope.
Definitely not. And then another 5 damage back off of Nick's base.
Saw a brief clip of Mr. Danny G from PPG team over the face cam. Love to see him. I'm assuming Nick just claims initiative here, right? Yep.
Another Fleet Lieutenant.
Yep. Card is so good in this deck.
Yeah, it really is.
It just works so well together.
2 more to base with Alliance X-Wing. Back to 18 damage on, and at this point, Frank has to be mindful of Super Laser Blast.
Oh, 100%. He's knocking on the door.
Right. So, Frank may actually decide not to put another unit into play this turn just because of that, and he is going to pass the turn.
It's definitely smart. But it puts Nick in a weird position because obviously you almost have to do it. But if you do it obviously too early, now Frank has enough resources that he can just reestablish everything. But obviously if he waits too long, then Frank just swings out with everything anyway, and it was almost like not even worth waiting.
Colonel Yularen starting things off for Nick. Start healing some damage, but this leaves the door open for Frank to come through with at least one attack. Does he decide to go into Yularen right away? He does. the exact same play that Frank opted to go with last time when we saw Fleet Lieutenant versus Yularen. And there's the patrol craft to
Interesting, yeah.
try and lock down space.
If I'm Frank and I'm saying that, I think he's probably just going to start swinging away and start establishing, because obviously he doesn't have any more resources for Super to Laser Blast, but at the same time, I don't think he would have wasted a space craft, because I'm assuming he doesn't have any in hand that he can use next turn. Are we even sure that he really even runs Super Laser Blast? Have we seen it at all?
Yes, we have seen it. We saw it against Boba, 100%. Yeah, we saw it against Boba last round.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So repair, heal another 3, take him down to 18 damage on. But keep in mind, Frank has not used any resources on this turn.
He's playing very smart. He's definitely waiting.
Available to him.
I think he's also because Nick's 100% at 8, so I think he's also trying to make it so that Nick shoots and uses Palpatine before Frank actually continues any more plays, so that he can properly assess the situation and see what he's trying to do.
Right. So the ping, 6 damage on base for Frank now, 19 for Nick. Looks like he's got a change of heart in hand for Frank, and then he's also got the attack pod. And Nick will deploy Palpatine and, just as last game, take control of the Fleet Lieutenant. And there is the attack pod. Nick will just take out the Fleet Lieutenant. And deal the extra damage off of the on-attack trigger from Palpatine. Extra damage onto A-Wing. And then attack pod straight to base. So now 23 damage on for Nick. Nick does still have 3 cards in hand. Looks like he has Regional Governor, Emperor's Royal Guard, and can't quite tell the 3rd card in hand. The Spec Force Soldier comes down, taking away the Sentinel from System Patrol Craft. That allows Frank to get in for an extra 2 damage with the Alliance X-Wing. And now 25 damage on. Frank so close, but yet so far away. Let's see how Nick responds. He does have the initiative. And K2SO and For a Cause I Believe In for Frank in hand now. Those 2 cards could really come into effect and put their stamp on this match. And once again, another round with Nick and this blue Palpatine deck approaching the end of time. Our own stream clock showing just a little over a minute, but could be a little different from what they're showing at the table. And there is the change of heart. And he change of hearts targets the System Patrol Craft. And then Nick is just going to play another System Patrol Craft. Very interesting play. Now Frank is staring down Sentinel in both arenas. So he'll use Sabine's action ability, dealing 1 damage to each base. Palpatine take out the Spec Force soldier.
I'm kind of surprised he attacked. I kind of thought he would have just claimed initiative, but I guess if he has a change, like if he does declare a change of heart here, or not change of heart, cause I believe in, it's pretty good.
And regional governor down for Nick. I don't know exactly what he called with that, but I would not be surprised if he called for a cause I believe in. Yeah, absolutely. So K2SO is coming down first for Frank.
Nick's actually in a very good spot here, surprisingly. That was a pretty good turn for him. Him being able to like stop the change of heart basically was pretty good, and that means his Sentinel in ground survived, and now he has 2 in space, and he turned off for cause I believe in. So this is like not too bad, not too bad of a position at all. If he can stabilize off of this, he's in an amazing spot.
Yeah, I think he's in a very good position here. I mean, 3 Sentinels on the board. You pretty much have the space arena locked down completely right now. With double system patrol craft and Royal Guard. Great, here comes Lauren.
This is going to be sad if this actually does go to time and they both lose, because this one is definitely one that I would have loved to have truly seen how it played out. Especially where their state is right now. This is a really, really good game by 2 very, very good players.
Absolutely. This has been a fantastic match to watch. Here comes Overwhelming Barrage. That's going to take out the attack pod. Boost up Palpatine, +2/+2 for the phase. And it looks as though Frank has just claimed the initiative. So now Nick swinging in with Regional Governor. System Patrol Craft. He's got... Oh, no. Okay, so it was just a pass from Frank.
I guess it just passed. Yeah, I thought he claimed the initiative too.
Yeah, just passed. Yeah, I thought so. But he does play
I was going to say, because
operative.
he really was about to swing out.
3 more damage to base. That's 15 on now for Frank and Blonde Sabine. Blonde Sabine is in trouble. And once again, looks as though Nick has been able to stabilize. Can Nick do it again? Can he finish off the comeback after being down 0-1? He did it in round 4 against Boba Green, looking to do it again here in round 5 against Blonde Sabine. So Palp takes out taking out the rogue operative. Royal Guard into base. And our timer here on stream is showing 0, but not sure what it is exactly at the table. They are still going to another turn. And a great point from chat. May have some extra time because of that judge call earlier. So what are we at here? We're at 28 damage on Nick's base now.
He's trying to sneak attack with K2SO. Did he Is something have Saboteur? Is he able to get around? Okay, so he does. Okay, I was gonna say, I was like, how is he getting around this?
Okay, so yeah, just surprise striking into the Royal Guard with K2SO.
Yeah, I think he forgot that it was. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe he was forgetting the Sentinel was trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. He was trying to go straight into base with K2SO there.
Yeah, he definitely. Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, I was like, how does he? Giving it. Oh no, Frank. Sort of that 18 to what, 5, 10, 15, 20, 24. Oh, this is a sad one because like it clearly seems like there's not gonna be a winner. This is a sad one.
Now that is an excellent question. They did the overwhelm damage, correct? Did they put the overwhelm damage onto the base after the attack from K2SO?
I don't think so. The only thing that I saw interact with the base so far was taking the 3 off for reinforcement walker. They do have the overwhelm. Interesting.
Okay, so it's just 24 damage on Nick's base, and now with reinforcement walker on the board, that is an extremely big problem for Frank.
Oh, he thought the guard was +1/+1. Oh, interesting. Oh, so he thought that the K2SO would have died to the Emperor's Royal Guard, proccing K2SO's effect. Oh, interesting. That's unfortunate.
Okay. Yeah, that does make sense. So System Patrol Craft will take out that X-Wing.
Yeah, he's not letting anything with Saboteur stay on board. There's no way.
Absolutely. They have to get that off the board.
This is an interesting spot because obviously Nick has so many bodies that he can swing with left. Frank has a lot of resources open. Nick definitely needs to claim initiative. Obviously, before Frank does, it's just going to be very interesting to see how much he can get away with before he does that. Because you're going to need that reinforcement walker to help with K2SO.
So it looks like 25 damage now onto Nick's base, and
to 19.
I'm just not sure he's going to have enough to get across the finish line.
Turn out 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. Is that exact? What is System Patrol Craft? What is their attack? Does Nick have
3.
lethal on board? Does he have 11
Yeah,
on board?
Nick has lethal. Yeah, Nick's
He
got
has
lethal for next turn, absolutely. Because there's 19 damage on base, just needs 11. You've got 6 over in space, and then you've got an extra 13
Frank only has one
power
card in
just
hand.
on the ground. Yeah.
Frank only has one card in hand. Is that it's a Lando, so that's GG's, right? That's just Nick. Nick gets it.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything here that Frank can do
that's
to
good.
change this one.
Oh no, Frank, just admit. Come on, my friend. 3, 4, 5. Oh, come on. If he doesn't even have, I'm not sure what they could be discussing. Because I think.
I was just curious if maybe they were discussing
pass.
the possibility if it went to time.
Oh, so he didn't swing out. Interesting. Why didn't I guess Nick must have claimed initiative like preemptively. Dang, that's unfortunate because Nick definitely had lethal on board.
Well, if this is indeed the last round, he still has lethal on board.
Yeah, but now obviously Frank has with more cards in I thought he only had 11 left. His opponent's at 19, and Palp is what 4, Yularen's 2, Governor Walker's 2, I think, right? Nick was 1 short. 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, Governor's 1. Okay, that was where I was missing it. Okay, that makes sense then.
Oh, interesting. So the reinforcement walker is actually going to hit K2SO. So he does heal the 3 damage, so then no damage dealt. Because he gets to heal 3 and he takes 3 from K2SO, so they effectively cancel each other out.
I will say from a like little pieces perspective, not having to deal with that is pretty nice. Is having to cancel out. Mm-hmm.
So is there anything that Frank can do here with Lando?
Because I mean, the only thing, if he can grab one of the things that's like a saboteur, or grab something that like takes away Sentinel, but he doesn't have anything to attack with.
Right, exactly. I mean, there's.
I'm not sure what he could look for. And what is her name? The general still is active for a cause I believe in. So I mean,
Right. Yeah. So
yeah,
there it
there
is.
Yeah, that's Nick.
Nick
Wow,
and
Nick is
Blue
my new
Palpatine
god. Taking out
back to
Sabine.
back. Round 4 and round 5 down 0-1 comes storming
Very
back
well played.
to take it
Very
once
well
again.
played.
Great games for Nick. I tell you what, Nick is on fire right now.